Welcome to another good old episode of the AJ Sports Podcast. Today I'll talk about March Madness tournament. A lot of craziness. A lot of craziness in the tournament. March Madness doing its old standard. And I'll give my reaction to World Baseball Classic. There's a much moves in the NFL world. I'll talk about a couple of them. Let's get to the tournament. Let's talk about the first round. Bama does what they do. They crush their own souls and Corpus Christi. Maryland, Virginia. West Virginia was close. Maryland would hang on. San Diego State also hangs on to beat Charleston. Virginia completely blows the game away against Furman, 68-67. You had a dude, literally all he has to do is take a timeout or try to force a foul. He just shucks it up. Furman gets it, hits the game-winning three-pointer. Creighton beats NC State. Baylor wins. Missouri moved on. Arizona loses to Princeton, which is absolutely hilarious and humiliating. But wait a second, just wait a second, because there's a team that outdid themselves. That outdid Arizona. Good old Purdue. They lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, the shortest team, average-wise, in all the college basketball. They're not even supposed to be in the tournament because the team in their conference that won was ineligible because they just moved into the conference. So Fairleigh Dickinson wins one of the first four games. You know, in the NCAA tournament, they have the first four. Not only they beat, I think it was Texas Western. They crushed. They beat Purdue. Let's talk about Purdue a little bit. More specifically, good old Matt Painter. Oh boy, he should be on the hot seat. I mean, 3 consecutive years losing to a double-digit seed. Last year, losing to a 15 seed in St. Peter's. The team looked completely unprepared. And then in a game against Fairleigh Dickinson, they played horribly. Everybody shot horribly. He did well, but everybody else just shot horribly. That loss is unacceptable. It's just a fact. It's unacceptable. You can't be losing these kinds of games. And this is starting to become like a trend of the Big Ten where they just haven't won it all. I mean, the last Big Ten team to win a national title is 2000 Michigan State. That's not good. I mean, Big Ten, best conference. Woo! Well, sure as hell haven't proven in the tournament in over 20 years. I think there's only one Big Ten team that's still in the tournament. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Purdue played horribly. I mean, the only hope that you can have as a Purdue fan, including myself, is that Lawyer and Smith did exceed their expectations, and they'll improve a little bit as the next season. That's just hope. Who the hell knows that'll happen? Instead of beating those garbage Fairleigh Dickinson teams, they're not that good. But they outplayed Purdue. That's a fact. You could have beat those guys, get your hearts broken in the second round, and call it a day. But no, they chose failure. Good old Purdue do. Can't escape their own incompetence. Florida Atlantic edged out against Memphis. Duke crushed Oral Roberts. Tennessee beats Louisiana. Kentucky won. Kansas State moved on. Michigan State beats USC. Marquette pulls out Vermont. Houston wins. Auburn beats Iowa 83-75. Miami holds on against Drake. IU, Pitt, Xavier, Penn State, and Texas moved on. Kansas, Arkansas, St. Mary's, UConn moved on. TCU beats Arizona State in a close game. Gonzaga, Northwestern, UCLA both move on. So that's kind of your action in the first round. The second round, Alabama crushed Maryland. San Diego State crushes Furman. Creighton beats Baylor 85-76. Princeton beat Missouri by 15 points, 78-63. So Princeton that's the third straight year a 15 seeds made it to the Sweet 16. 2021 you had Oral Roberts. 2022 you had, I believe, St. Peter's. St. Peter's, they actually made as far as the Elite Eight. Florida Atlantic, that's Farley Dickinson at the end. Tennessee beats Duke 65-52. Kansas State beats Kentucky. I'm not surprised. Kentucky's been inconsistent all year long. And speaking of a team that's been disappointed, Kentucky's been disappointing too. They haven't been as dominant as they should be. They haven't made the Elite Eight since 2019. All this talent that they're getting hasn't cultivated much. And I wonder if there's some pressure on John Calipari. As good as a coach he is, there needs to be some pressure on him. Michigan State upsets Marquette. I was a little surprised. I thought Marquette was going to go to the Final Four. Well, that ain't happening. Michigan State beats them. Houston crushes Auburn. Miami ran away in the second half against Indiana, 85-69. Wish Purdue had some of those Miami guards. My God. They were flying all day. Xavier beats Pitt, 84-73. Texas, that's Penn State, 71-76. Arkansas upsets Kansas, 72-71. I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't Arkansas's year, and I was proven right. UConn beats St. Mary's, 70-55. Gonzaga beats TCU. It was kind of a shootout, but Gonzaga clutched out in the end and won. UCLA beats Northwestern, a close one, 68-63. So the Sweet 16 matchups: 5th seed San Diego State versus number 1 seed Alabama. 15th seed Princeton takes on the 6th seed in Creighton. The 9th seed Florida Atlantic takes on the 4th seed Tennessee. 7th seed Michigan State takes on number 3 Kansas State. Then you have Miami versus Houston, Xavier versus Texas, Arkansas versus UConn, and Gonzaga versus UCLA. Those are your Sweet 16 matchup. Should be fun. It should be a very fun rest of this tournament. March Madness doing its own standard. Now, the World Baseball Classic, MLB and every other authorities in baseball, they did this perfectly. Now you see it on national television now. Finally you're seeing it. You're seeing the potential of the World Baseball Classic had. It lived up to the hype. You had a lot of craziness occurring. Just absolutely insanity. So the final pieces of the bracket, you had Puerto Rico upsets Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, I went Diaz blew out his knee while celebrating, so that sucks for the Mets. I think they had that Phillies closer last year, something Robertson. I know that for a fact. David Robertson. Yeah, David Robertson. So he'll probably be handling the closing duties. He's had some relief experience before. He did well with the Phillies in the title run. So signing him was kind of clutch in hindsight, because oh god. Interesting fact: Randy Arozarena went off for Mexico. They actually beat the United States in the early rounds. So the quarterfinals, Cuba beats Australia. Trey Turner hits that big grand slam to get past Venezuela. Mexico beats Puerto Rico. Japan blows out Italy. And then the semifinals, the U.S. completely plowed against Cuba, while Mexico and Japan was a lot more fun. Japan was able to hold it off to the end of the night. Then you had the final, Japan versus United States, a matchup that everybody wanted. Everybody wanted this matchup. I believe it's the highest rated baseball game of all time. I was kind of expecting that, because I mean, the ratings worldwide of the World Baseball Classic has been insanity. Just absolutely crazy. The game starts off a home run from Trey Turner. He stays hot, but Japan hits another home run themselves. They would hit two. They're up 3-1. Kyle Schwarber gets one back. Then the ninth, good old Shohei Ohtani comes in the bullpen, right? Takes care of the first 2 outs. And then we had a matchup that everybody wanted. Everybody wanted to see Shohei Ohtani versus Mike Trout. Goes to a full count. Ohtani ends up striking Trout out with a slider because Trout kind of whiffed on a couple of fastballs earlier at bat. Trout has to expect a fastball. Ohtani gets a slider. In Japan, for the third time, has won the World Baseball Classic. Overall, it was a success. It was very, very fun to watch. And we can't wait till 2026. I'll say that for sure. So, some little news at the NFL. There isn't much. It's the off season. I mean, nothing ridiculous has happened. Jets added Mecole Hardman. Elijah Moore gets traded to the Browns. The Browns get another weapon. The Cowboys traded for Brennan Cooks. We'll see how he does there. I mean, don't expect Brennan Cooks to get a lot of targets. I think he's there for depth. And you know what? The Cowboys can use that. The Cowboys did sign a running back to replace Zeke. Ronald Jones. Yeah, they signed Ronald Jones. So they're really trusting on Tony Pollard, which I honestly think it's the right thing to do. Zeke's kind of been on decline, so you kind of have to do something. Kind of get a replacement of running back because once again, running backs in the NFL are expendables. That's just reality. That's just the NFL rule for you. Devin Singletary is a Texan. They also added Dalton Schultz, so the Cowboys did lose a tight end. So for the Bills need to do something at running back. They gotta find a way to do something. Now they did sign Damian Harris. I am very interested to see how that works. Because I think Damian Harris is, I don't know. I mean, he's a nice, between the tackles back, is he really going to separate? Is he going to be that back that the Bills need? That's an interesting question. Because the Bills, I mean, they're still great, but man, if they don't start this season, it's going to be a lot of pressure, in my opinion. I mean, it's to the point where they got to start winning playoff games. They got to start going to the AFC Championships again. They got to make a Super Bowl appearance. We'll see how it goes. And the Bills also lost Isaiah McKenzie. He's now on the Colts. The Colts picked up 2 guys. Gardner Minshew. I'm very questionable about that pick. That means I hope Foles and Ellinger, one of them needs to go. In my opinion, Foles is done. Matt Ryan's been released. I think Matt Ryan needs to retire, in my opinion. Hall of Fame quarterback. He's gonna make it there. There's no question about it. He's past his days. It's just that simple. It happens. The Colts also signed Samson Ebukam. Why? We don't need another pass rusher. We already got Kwity Paye over there. I mean, I know it doesn't hurt for death, but damn, what the hell? There's going to be a lot of questions for the Colts. And more particularly the draft. Now, for the draft, the Panthers did get the number 1 pick from the Bears. The Bears found a good trade partner. The Bears got a bunch of other picks. They also got DJ Moore, which will definitely help of their rebuild, of their trying to develop Justin Fields. Who knows if they're going to be successful? They also signed PJ Walker, by the way, as backup. But we'll definitely see what the Bears do with the pick. They don't need the like. It's a quarterback. You got two, maybe three. Like you got four quarterbacks that's going to go to the top 15. So the Bears don't need to find a bet. They just need to find and strike and find some talent to support Justin Fields. They also signed Dante Foreman too, which trying to find weapons. And DJ Moore with Darnell Mooney, if he continues to play well, if Chase Claypool ever gets back on track, he hasn't performed well since his rookie season. If he starts doing anything, if he goes back to playing good, maybe the Bears could show some of that potential. I don't know. It's a very interesting season. Other news, Dante Hightower retired. So his career is over. I mean, very successful career. 3-time Super Bowl champion. Very big time linebacker for the Patriots dynasty. So, very, very, very good linebacker. Other news, Willis Reed, a legend for the Knicks. He ended up passing away. What's his career? Well, 2-time NBA champion with the Knicks. 7-time All-Star. He won an MVP in 1970. So a very successful NBA career. His biggest moment, obviously, the 73 NBA Finals, where he played Game 7. Played some solid minutes in that game with like a torn calf muscle. Something like that. Just ridiculous. They ended up beating the Knicks that year to win their second title. And the Knicks have not won a title ever since. It's a shame because the Knicks used to always not be a joke. But you can thank James Dolan for that. God, what an awful owner he is. How do you turn the Knicks? Was one of the proudest organizations throughout the 90s and turn to a laughingstock. And I know they're a playoff caliber team now. I mean, they're 42-32, but I mean, multiple losing seasons. That's for the NBA. The playoffs are going to start soon. So, very excited for that. We have a very interesting MVP race. I think it's going to be between three guys. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis. Jokic kind of has the complete package stats. He's averaging practically a triple-double. 24 points, 12 rebounds, and just 10 assists. Then Joel Embiid, he's averaging 33 points, 10 rebounds. And then Giannis, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 5.5 assists. So the Bucks, they're at the top of the Eastern Conference. The Nuggets are a couple games starting to somewhat pull away from the Western Conference. This NBA season's been kind of chaotic, I will say. No team, in my opinion, has truly separated themselves. I mean, you have a bunch of solid, okay teams. For the Eastern Conference, I think it's going to be between Milwaukee and Boston. Milwaukee, I have no idea. I have a feeling it's just the Nuggets' time. But if the Grizzlies can get their act together, Ja Morant specifically, they can make it even. The Sacramento Kings are actually legit this year, which is odd. I mean, the Kings have been a joke for 15 years. But they just have so many There's so much depth. You guys got Demonis Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Hutter, Malik Monk, and Keegan Murray. They can all score some points. I mean, just an insane team. The Suns, they're pretty much waiting until Durant comes back. The Clippers are going to lose Paul George for a while, so that's going to be a big blow. That's pretty much it for the NBA news, and that's pretty much it for this podcast. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.